Okay, we'll call a meeting to order. It's Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One and no more.
Okay, minutes and reports received and filed.
Yes, we have the sheriff's July 2021 fees, the auditor's July 2021 revenue and expenditure report, treasurer's July 2021 reconciliation report, and the collector's July 2021 fees.
God, you've been busy. Okay, Commissioner Committee Liaison reports, upcoming meetings and events.
We got Solid Waste Management District Board meeting today, Zoom meeting. Home Builders Association meeting tonight. MAC Board meeting tomorrow morning down at the Camden on the Lake Resort. I think there's Chiefs meeting tomorrow night, John?
Yes, Thursday.
Okay, Thursday
That's
night or tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Whatever you want to call it, John. It's your world. St. Peter's 175th anniversary. We got a proclamation presentation Friday, and that's kind of their kickoff deal for their anniversary, right?
Yeah, they've got all kinds of stuff. There was an ad in the paper.
That's 7?
Yeah, so Father asked that we be there no later than 7:15.
Okay. Saturday night's the Blue Tiger Athletic Club Casino night. And then Sunday's the St. Thomas the Apostle Parish Picnic in good old St. Thomas, Missouri. Other than that, nothing going on. That's yours.
This evening, get my notes here. Our community has experienced a loss. Marine Corporal Dalton Wayne Pearson died on July 28th at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. He's coming home tonight. He's got an escort from St. Louis here to Jefferson City. The body's expected to arrive around 6:30 p.m. Community's asked to line West Main Street. It'll come off of 63, Highway 63, 54, out to West Main. I think it circles the Capitol. So it's a way to honor this young man, Dalton Wayne Pearson, this evening.
You guys sent it out to all our elected officials and department heads.
Let's see. I think the Chiefs meetings was mentioned. This Thursday evening, St. Peter's was mentioned, and I have a Patriot Day committee meeting at noon on Friday. That's what I have.
I've got everything you all mentioned, other than we have a Cole County Bicentennial meeting tomorrow at 3, and then Monday we have a medical WebEx at 8. So otherwise I got everything else that you had. So okay, any commission comments? Bids and contracts, approval and signing of MOU with Centertown on animal control.
So we have this completed and we sent it to Centertown. Jill has looked at it also. I haven't got the signed copy back from them. In essence, we'll be doing for them the same thing we're doing for St. Martin's and Russellville. So I would ask that you go ahead and vote for this if that's okay. And then when it comes in, then I can just have you guys sign it and we can go ahead and implement this. I have a copy with me if you would like to take a look at it, but like I said, I don't have the signed copy from Centertown. That's up to y'all.
There's no cost to the county,
So who signs it first? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
So then we can vote to sign it and then send our signed one to them and then they sign it and then it's a contract,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
would
That work?
sign this one just in case y'all came
Okay.
up with that little idea.
I'm glad you were saying it into my earpiece.
I'll offer a motion to sign the memorandum of agreement with the Village of Centertown for law enforcement services,
Animal control.
animal control.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, contract renewal of 2020-23 vehicle equipment install and repair services.
This is the vehicle equipment and install services for the sheriff's department. It's the first renewal for it. They kept all the pricing the same as last year, except they raised the oil change to $30 and it was $20. And the sheriff's department was okay with it. And I do have a renewal to sign. With Big O tires, sorry.
And you're satisfied with this?
Yes, they do good work for us.
Okay,
I'm good with it. You good? All right, make a motion, we sign contract renewal, vehicle equipment install and repair services with Big O Tires.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, signing of contract with James H. Drew Corporation, guardrails for public works.
Public Works is wanting to piggyback off of Boone County's contract with James H. Drew Corporation. They provide guardrails and install them, repair them. I think Brian
This
knows.
would mainly be for, if there was a vehicle accident on a guardrail, it would just be repairs mainly. If we ever did a section of guardrail, we would of course probably put that out to bid. This is more of just somebody, say a drunk driver or whatever, we could call the James H. Drew, tell them what we have, and then they can come out and repair it. Otherwise, we have to do 3 different bids every single time we have guardrail damage, and that's frequent.
If we can get an accident report, when an accident does happen, if there is a report, we can turn that into their insurance. And we've been successful in the past doing that. This is just in the cases where there's no report, it's just a hit and run. It can also be just maybe some guardrail that just is either deficient or some other issue that we see that we need to replace more immediate than wait for a contract.
So how soon will they be doing these repairs? Because we've talked about the one on South Rock Creek Road, so if we approve this today, then this would be exactly what they do, and they,
That contact has been made and they have it scheduled, but we don't have a date for sure yet on that.
We, yeah, they're, of course, just like everybody else, they're behind. I will mention too that Jefferson City and MoDOT are utilizing the same contract as well. So it's just a matter of when they can get there. Usually it's within a couple of weeks after you make the report, unless you call them up and say, this is a priority, this needs to be fixed now. So like South Rock Creek, it is a damage, but not necessarily something that's gonna cause another accident if it's not repaired immediately. We
well,
went out
part
and took
of it was
pictures.
held up because y'all were waiting to see if there was a sheriff's report or anything on it, but I
That
don't
is
think any
correct.
accident was reported, I think.
We have went ahead and sent the information to James H. Drew. They've given us an estimate for that repair on South Rock Creek of around $1,300. And then as soon as this is approved, they can go ahead and come out and get it fixed.
And when they're in the area. I
And
think
when they're
that's
in the
it, too,
area,
that
yes.
They try to do it, so.
One of the things that we run into with getting 3 different bids for guardrail repair too is the mobilization fees sometimes is more than the guardrail repair itself. So this contract would help us be able to just call one person, have them come fix whatever damage, or if we do see some deficiencies.
Okay. I'm good with it.
Have some
All right. Make a motion, we sign the contract.
James H. Drew.
James H. Drew Corp. for guardrails.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approval, small community cooperative project supplemental agreement with City of Russellville.
So Russellville, they bid their project and it came in quite a bit under the estimated amount, over $100,000 under. We had an agreement with them back when we started these back in 2018. We did a supplemental with them when they got a grant award through the CDBG program through the Department of Economic Development. with the state for $500,000, so they increased the time needed to do the project. We did the supplemental for that. Because they have money left to spend, additional funds available, they would like to add to the scope of the project to do more work adjacent to and just to make more improvements in the community. We ran this through the Road and Bridge Advisory Board, and they unanimously support increasing the scope of the project, which this supplemental agreement would be for, just simply to increase the scope to add work, drainage and stormwater work on Hillcrest Street, Valley Drive, and Simpson Street, and then also some pavement improvements on Simpson Street, Marion Street, and ditching work between Simpson and Marion. So just an extension of the project because funding was available to do this. Any questions?
Nope, just surprised it came in under like that.
Yeah, I am too. I like that.
It's a good thing.
I'll offer a motion to sign the supplemental agreement number 2, Cole County Small Community Cooperative Project with the city of Russellville.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Bid award 2021-19 Carnegie Building Step Replacement.
For 2021-19, we had 4 contractors put a bid in for it. The lowest bid was All Seasons Landscaping and Construction at $101,064.80. Do you have anything to add to it?
Well, did Patrick, you reviewed the bids?
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed the bids, went through, I had an engineer's estimate. It actually came in really close to what the engineer's estimate was. It was less than $1,000. From that, reviewed All Seasons bid. They had all the required paperwork, proposal forms filled out, recognized all the addendums, submitted all the required paperwork. So I provided a recommendation letter to award to All Seasons.
And you'll be overseeing it?
Yeah, we also, and I don't know if we need to mention that, but I also did submit to Jessica a proposal to provide observation, inspection, material testing services for the construction phase of the project, so.
And that was almost $4,000.
Yeah.
So say there's 2 trees included in there. Is there any other landscaping included on that, or will we take care of that later on?
The project design documents just had basically reseeding and fertilizing and mulching the
2
area.
trees.
2 trees included in the bid, and then any additional landscaping would be the obligation for the county.
Okay. As it turned out really nice in front of the courthouse, and I think we could make the curb appeal there in front of the assessor's office.
Yeah, we did.
Nicer too while we're doing this.
Also, part of the design documents, we did include some conduit underneath the new concrete and stuff so that we could provide irrigation system if that would ever be desired by the county too, so.
Yeah, don't put rocks over there. They'll be throwing them. I don't have any more questions. Your witness.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, thanks.
I'm going to make a comment and tell you how I'm going to vote. And it's more on philosophical ground. I have an issue with awarding a contract to a former elected official shortly after the elected official leaves office. It's not against the law for this thing to be adopted as described. Many political subdivisions have what's called cooling off period or revolving door restrictions. We don't have one. We don't never asked for one, I guess. But because of that, and I'm going to vote no on awarding the contract to a recently serving elected official.
Okay. Do we have a contract?
No, no, Joe.
Okay. So we'll just do the award today and then we'll sign the contract later?
Yep.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. This sidewalk came up completely after he was gone, so I don't have a problem with it at all, so I'll make a motion, we award it to All Seasons Landscape and Construction, the lowest and best bid of $101,064.80.
And I will second it for discussion. Yeah, I think with CMPS doing what they did on the landscaping, and I'm fine with it. I think talking to our facilities director, I think this is a good bid, and we're gonna go with the lowest and best, so I second it. Any other discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Thank you all.
Okay. City of Jefferson Real Estate Agreement.
What's this?
This is the parking lot.
100,000.
What?
It only took us,
Surprise.
I don't know how many
Okay.
dollars.
Well, that's a good surprise. I
Yeah,
didn't know
it
that was
is.
coming up. Good.
Yes.
Make a motion.
I will if you told me that, I mean, this is, we've been waiting and waiting, and finally the council has enacted what they need to enact.
Resolution, all signed,
Okay?
We are buying this little parking lot off the alley.
next to the Methodist Church.
Yes, on Monroe Street, so we can fire a cannon over at the News Tribune, you know.
We currently lease this space for around $800-900 a month. There was an attempt some years ago, perhaps, to acquire. The price a couple years ago was more like 400,000 plus. They've come back to us with a $100,000 offer after an appraisal was obtained. It's necessary for us to have this because of the Sally Port entrance that utilize, we have to have control of that spot. And this is a perfect opportunity to do that. So I'll make a motion that we sign the City of Jefferson real estate sale agreement for the lot off of Monroe Street,
Commercial Way.
immediately north of the old jail sheriff's house.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I started trying to get this a couple of years ago, so. Wheels of government
One
move
signature.
slowly. Yes.
Too long for
Oh,
today.
okay. Okay. Do we have any unfinished business? Okay. New
That one they
business,
signed it, that's the only one.
accounts payable review.
I'd ask for approval of accounts payable pending review.
Motion to approve accounts payable pending review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 911 software discussion. Sheriff?
So last week I talked to you about Solacom. We used CARES money to be able to do 911 mapping, right? So I explained what that is. If a call comes in now, 911, they have to answer in order to come. If a big incident occurs at 54, then they may get 25 phone calls, but these will be displayed on a map now so they can look and see if there's one sole call open Eugene. They can answer that call and find out that it's actually a COVID-related incident, and they don't have to wait to go through the 25 calls about it and just say 911, yeah, we know about it, we've got emergency personnel, and then answer the next one. So that was approved for COVID money. Come to find out, whenever they went to try to get this done, Solacom could in fact not do that like they wanted. So JCPD has been working with a group called Entrada, and Entrada, they're going to go to them, and it's changing their 911 answering system, and they'll have the 911 call mapping. It also adds a more robust reporting system. It's a 24/7 PSAP monitoring by Entrada for errors and outages. So in effect, they will probably know if JCPD goes down or 911 goes down, they'll actually know before JCPD probably will, and we'll be able to start to move to get it fixed. Hardware replacement, they will ship replacement parts overnight to keep them up and running to make sure that they're stay operational. They'll have automated call handling and auto attendant. They don't have this with Solacom right now. And then finally, this is the same system that Boone County is getting, and we're already linked with them, so if our 911 goes down, it will automatically shift our 911 calls to Boone County, so someone is still answering our 911 calls, and vice versa. So this will benefit everybody. The total price for this is gonna be $430,238.43, because you gotta have that 43 cents. I don't understand that one, but anyway, the 25% that we would pay was $107,559.60. I would ask that we go ahead and we use the ARCO, the new money that we got down, and pay that $107,559.60 so we can continue to move forward with that, the upgrade to the 911 system for JCPD.
So what was the original amount that the other company, we were gonna pay them that
I
could
can't, I
not?
don't want to say it was 81,000, 88,000. I can't remember, to be quite honest, yet.
You have
So when do we pay this? I mean, we're still.
Well, they still go through there, once they get it approved through the budget for JCPD. Now, instead of going to the council and saying they're gonna need the 430, they can take that 107 down.
Okay.
So it's a smaller amount for them to approve.
Yeah, but I mean, we're still in the process of figuring out how to even access this
Well, then what?
money. So it's not something we have to come up with next week.
Well, and even if we do, it'd be reimbursable to ourselves, so we could always pay out of GR and then get reimbursed, or we could pay out of my contingency and then get reimbursed from the ARPA.
63,000 was the
63,
total time.
sorry.
We have $7.5 million sitting there earning
Yeah.
this much interest, right?
Yeah,
So my recommendation would be we run it through BKD.
Well,
Just
I-
have them review it and make sure we have all the documentation and things that we need to.
I agree with that. This will be the first official spending of the new bucket of money called ARPA,
It would be.
the rescue money?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
And just to circle back, so the funding that we sent to the city for Solacom will have to be returned to us. We have talked to the state, and they are going to open up one more reporting period for circumstances like this, because we are not the only ones that have had this issue. We can use other expenditures that run through the end of June, and submit an expenditure report for other expenditures to account for this 63,000 if we would like. So we could do additional payroll or something like that for that 63, to account for the CARES money, and still use it. We cannot use it for this new vendor because we're already past the deadline.
I don't want to get in the weeds too deep, but could the rental of the vaccine spot use up this money that's coming back?
It depends on when we paid it. So if we paid it prior to the end of June, yes.
Well, we were paying it monthly, weren't we?
Well, but we had a little hiccup there where, yeah, we weren't receiving it, so
Receiving invoices.
we were slower.
Had to be paid, not just encumbered? I mean, we were obligated to pay it.
I think it still had to be paid just because of that hard deadline.
Well, then we could use salaries to do it.
I definitely think we have other expenditures.
Okay.
We had some, disinfectants and PPE and things like that came in right there at the end that we didn't submit. So I definitely think we have expenditures. We just need to figure out what expenditures we're going to submit on that report.
Yeah,
So, and I'm gonna go one further. I would ask that we can go ahead and utilize my contingency money, and then if we can get it reimbursed from ARPA, we can. That way, I don't want them on hold for this 107,000.
No,
So if we could just go ahead and then if BKD says for some reason we can't use it, then it just comes out of my contingency money. I just don't want to hold up
no,
the
I think
process.
it
We
sounds
need
like
the
a better system.
Oh, it's a whole lot.
Than
better
what
system.
we were going to get, so.
And then once.
And I like the idea that it is, you know, hooking us into Boone County, because if, you know, something happens to our 911, then we're,
Well, and not only that, but once the new EMS director gets on board, I mean, this is another thing that he can go to them, because I think it's a easier way to get any alleys for locations. I think it'll be easier for them to be able to do that too. I don't quite understand it, so I'm not even gonna try to comment on it, but they said something to me, and I said, wait until Director Hoy gets here, and then we'll let him go down and have a conversation, and they can deal with that part.
yeah.
Your name tag's falling off there, Jeff.
Oh.
It's tired.
We all are.
No, it's early. I mean, it's early.
Sagging.
You know, he turned 50, so.
Need a little more support here.
Here, you wanna hammer it?
No, I'll break some duct tape tomorrow. Can't fix it, duct it.
Yeah, I am fine. Do we need a motion to?
Do we need a motion to spend the contingency money, or is that just gonna
I
be a
think maybe just,
transfer?
I think we
maybe
need
just make the motion that you're going to support their purchase with the 107, so that they have something that documents that you're on board for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to approve that and then figure out the money part of it.
Yeah,
We can do that later on. I mean, if we wanna get down in the weeds farther and play with it, or if we wanna do it from his contingency and then reimburse ourselves later on.
If we just went on record today as supporting the request of the sheriff to spend $107,559.60,
Yes, sir.
that we will pay the city, so the city can pay $430,238.43 towards the purchase of
Entrada.
Entrada. I make a motion along those lines.
Okay, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, discussion of COVID Families First Coronavirus Response Act, FFCRA Relief Extension.
Good morning.
Morning.
I sent an email late in the game this morning, and I apologize. The FFCRA has not been extended. However, there has been an opportunity, I guess, to open it back up for voluntary participation again on a tax credit period going through September 30th. It's not federally mandated that we do participate. We had approximately 111 staff that did receive the 80 hours or up to 80 hours of funds under FFCRA when it first was implemented in 2020. We had a voluntary participation period from January through March of 2021. There's not been anything in the interim. As of yesterday, we have, I think it is 13 confirmed, either positive test or close contact that are under quarantine or under a quarantine period. So it is growing within our county and our staff. I would ask that we re-implement the voluntary participation under FFCRA to give anyone that did not receive the pay the first round. So anyone that didn't get any of that first go, whether the mandated or the voluntary, that they get up to 80 hours to use between now and the end of September under this voluntary period. And then if it is mandated beyond that or extended, we would revisit it.
Yeah, so it is people, if you've used it once and you come down with COVID again, which can happen, they would not be able to use this.
If they use the whole 80 the first time.
Okay,
Sometimes
okay,
people didn't use the whole 80.
okay.
And so that if they had used the entire 80, then my recommendation is that we open up the 80 or any remaining balance of that 80 to anyone that didn't utilize it before.
Yeah, I know we've had, EMS has had some already too, so.
I think it's
I
across
think
to
it's-
all departments at this point. We've got
Yeah.
several.
Jeff, did you listen close enough to have the verbiage?
I was reading the email while she was talking.
Me
about it,
too.
so, I think I'm fine with it. I think it's fair too to the people that just didn't get it until now. But they're almost being punished, and so we've had several of them out with it, so.
Yeah. Well, it's hit maintenance, it's hit, yeah.
Because it would be difficult to go backwards retroactive to any period, we're asking that it start with the beginning date of this pay period and go
Okay.
forward through the end of September.
Okay.
Just 8 days.
So if they had between now and the date that it ended prior to, so anybody that's had it up till now, between now and then, screwed.
They've had to use vacation or sick pay.
Right.
But then if they don't get it until afterwards, after now, they'd be okay.
Right. I mean,
So this wouldn't be retroactive at all.
Right. Because we let it expire at the end of March. It was still in effect as of March, but we didn't extend it because it was all volunteer from March. We're just asking to start back up now, August 8th till September 30th.
I'd like to see if we can go back and make it retroactive somehow.
I don't-
It's kind of hard to-
Because if we're not gonna make it retroactive, then why start it back up now then?
One, I don't have the
Yeah.
documentation from the employees, maybe I can get that, maybe I can't. The quarterly reports have already been filed for those payroll periods, so, I mean, and if we were
If
gonna
they know
do-
they're gonna be reimbursed, not have to use sick and vacation time, I'm sure they would get you documentation. You have to have a positive test result.
And I can't really ask for too much paperwork. They do have to sign a piece of paper saying that they acknowledge they're taking the responsibility because we don't have quarantine orders anymore, so.
What if we did it in two steps? Step one is to re-implement it effective August 8th.
Yeah.
Re-implement it, get that one behind us, and then we look at what are the options to retroactively re-implement it for those who came after March 31 and prior to August the 8th. It would just look into it to see if there are options there for people who had the unfortunate experience of having these hours occur between those two benchmarks.
Some of them may have already used their 80 from before, too.
True.
Yeah.
That's,
Can you just give them, like, however many days of sick leave?
well, that's why I say, well, let's just look to see,
It'd be easier than Debbie having to do all the finance.
well, true, and maybe that's a simple, easy way, does that conflict with a retroactive pay increase?
No,
Does, under state law, we can't do a retroactive pay increase.
right.
Can we do,
Rectifying the situation.
can we do a retroactive benefit increase? Which
Yeah,
is more,
because you know when we have a snow day and you shut down the county, we get a sick day.
Right. If you
And-
come in.
Yeah, and then those of us who didn't come to work then put in a sick day, so it's a wash. But the people who did work get an additional sick day.
Then they would just have to provide a documentation that they had COVID, or what would we need?
I'll have to sign.
Okay.
We can do that. I mean, it's up to you.
well,
You
first,
can-
I'll make a motion to re-implement, what's the terminology here?
FFRCRA.
Re-implement the FFCRA.
First
Re-
coronavirus relief act.
That's what thank you, Counselor. Effective August 8th. That's my motion to re-implement the FFCRA relief extension,
And as of right now, it expires September 30th.
Yeah,
and it will expire September 30,
Unless the government comes.
unless the
Yeah.
government comes along, and the government being the federal government comes along and extends it.
I'll second.
So what was the date that it ended the first time?
March 31st. I mean,
April,
it
April
ended-
1st to now then. I mean, I'm fine with it if we're gonna do it and we go back to those other dates. I don't know why we can't go back to those other dates if somebody can provide documentation that they had it. And if it's as simple as signing a sheet and they had to take 80 hours or up to 80 hours of sick or personal leave, then they get it back.
Well, that's
I,
you're gonna make a second
that's going to be a
motion.
second motion. I didn't want to, I didn't want the
Yeah.
first motion in action to fail because there's a technical glitch with the second one.
Yeah.
We're going to attempt to fix
Yeah.
the in-between dates with a second motion. But sometimes when you enact a measure, it fails because it's got a flaw in it, and the whole thing fails, unless you have, what's it called, the savings clause. But that gets a little too technical. I just want to do it in two steps and get it done.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I've got a motion on the floor.
I'm a no unless we go back to April 1st and for everybody.
Well, I'm gonna
just gonna
second
send
your
us a-
motion.
You already
This
did.
first motion.
You already did. I was
Yeah.
just,
I know,
that's my conversation on it, so
yeah.
unless I'm gonna change your mind in the next 2 hours.
Well, he's gonna make a second motion to
In about
cover
2 minutes.
this
Go
other
ahead.
period, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
No,
okay.
just for that reason,
Okay.
so.
How about a motion from the Eastern District Commissioner to cover the poor souls that were infected and affected during that interim
And a
period?
donut hole.
Yes.
I just want it to be for all of them from April 1 till now too, to cover it, so.
You wanna make a motion?
I'll make the motion then from April 1 until this pay period, August.
September 7th would be the end.
Well, April 1 to August 2nd.
August
August
8th, yeah.
8th, to cover that period.
Second.
Hopefully we can get it
Okay.
all done.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. You happy, son?
I do need to remind.
We got to vote no once at least.
Well,
It's your turn
Or
now.
I have to go along, so you don't even-
You actually don't even really get to vote unless there's a tie, I don't think.
Only for about Sheriff's Department.
That's, Columbia mayor voted though, and it wasn't, he didn't necessarily need to vote, but anyway, that's, okay. Okay,
So when will we know if they can be, I'm not saying reimbursed, but made whole again, I guess?
I can start working on it this afternoon, Debbie.
yeah.
So what did I have to bring to you if I wanted reimbursed for my 80 hours the first time? Just I had to sign a form?
You don't get it.
I know, but if I did, so while I was at home, I was on Zoom meetings, I went and put a t-shirt, collar, t-shirt.
Well,
on at least.
if it's a hypothetical, let's say hypothetically, you're not a Eastern District Commissioner, you're an employee of of some department.
Public Works,
Right, okay. And in that case,
maintenance, whatever.
We used to have the order that, the quarantine order, but when the quarantine order stopped, we made an additional sentence on the bottom of the form they signed that basically said they were responsible, and they know that if they're lying or anything, we can hold them accountable for firing.
Along the lines of work comp, except for, I mean, they didn't even have to bring in a note from the doctor saying that they had COVID or their kid had COVID or whatever, they just
Most
said
of
to
the
be
times
there.
they did, most people shared it.
So-
Well, and you have some that are quarantined who didn't necessarily have COVID.
Well, or just like, in my case, I just got tested
Yeah,
and then said, okay, I gotta stay home.
yeah,
But between me and Sheila, we got it covered, so, all the documentation.
but if you're quarantined, you don't have COVID, but you're
Okay, I was getting down in
quarantined
the weeds. on
because
it.
of
I was
exposure,
just curious what you had to have for it, 'cause
you're covered, right? if you're quarantined,
There are no official
Because you
quarantines,
were
now there's
exposed.
guidance, so, yes.
yeah, because you were exposed to, you would be covered under this.
And the forms that Debbie is talking about, they're basically just a integrity attestation that says that, you know, I'm requesting this pay based on, and I understand that if I'm found to be whatever, dishonest, that I could suffer
Yeah.
consequences.
Okay.
Okay. You good?
Good.
Okay. Well, we don't have our closed session. Any other issues? Any, yes.
I do have an issue on the, what is it, the First Amendment auditors that have kind of come up. It was triggered, I know that all of the commissioners, I sent a email out. It was kind of triggered by initially a call from Boone County to Debbie asking what we were doing. It kind of caused a second look. I sent out that suggested posting, basically notice to staff. Sam, you asked that I present it to Sheriff Wheeler. I did. We had a discussion yesterday. Sheriff has provided his recommendations, and basically it is that we cannot prevent anyone from entering our building or moving about in the building unless we had it posted. I have researched. I have 3 different sign options that are the cheapest I can find that we would put on our building and some others. I'll get these to you all. And they're running about somewhere between $8 and $10 a piece if it's kind of rigid plastic and or aluminum. Sheriff suggested we put it on this overhead before it goes back into the offices. It just says authorized personnel only, so that if someone were to come into our building or any of the others that had it posted, we could ask them to leave. If they didn't, then it is a matter of calling, asking for sheriff or someone of his team to come escort them out. Otherwise, it would be a trespassing issue. So it's not going to prevent every bad act, but it kind of gives us a little bit of teeth in asking them to leave our building.
And kind of the email guidance to go out to employees, so they kind of know what to do if they're approached by somebody with their camera videotaping and trying to get into every room that they can, you know, just to.
So these are gonna go like outside our office windows.
No.
Or just can't
Not
go past
on the
them.
outside of the office entrance, but so that no one could proceed down the hallway into the offices
So-
without being authorized to go. So on this
They
overhang
can
right
come up
outside
here
the
to
door.
the counter, to Melody's counter yet.
Explain it,
Okay.
Sheriff, if you could, please.
They can come in there and record. So, and then.
Well, as I'm trying to figure out what this actually stops. I mean, if they
So
come in
they
my
will
office
go-
and I fear for my life, I'm gonna throw a
No.
punch them.
Well, what you're doing is,
I'm
you're
serious. I
taking
mean,
that-
you
that
don't
one sign
have the right to
and
harass me and,
You're hanging it on that one, down that says no unauthorized person beyond this point, so.
Okay.
If you look at the audits, they listen, I mean, they look at the signs, they know the laws, they're not gonna, they won't violate the law. I mean, if there are people gonna violate the law, the signs aren't gonna do any good anyway, so.
I'd rather them come back there and harass me than harass Melody.
I understand, and that's a good point, then you can switch offices with her if you would like, but right now, to stop people from walking back, you just put the sign right
I
there.
really don't care.
I
Mine's
know.
right here in the front anyway, so.
However you wanna do it,
Melody's-
but you
Melody
put
probably
that
take
sign
it.
and hang it right there, and then I would put unauthorized personnel only on these doors also.
For the commission chambers.
Yes?
That one has employees only on it.
Okay, but if you put authorized personnel only or something like that, because just because it's, I mean, when you're open and you're having a meeting like now, then the public are invited and that means they're authorized. But if you guys aren't in here, that doesn't give people the right to walk in and go in behind, sit behind your desk and take pictures or videotape what's on your desk.
So why don't we just put them on the front doors coming into the whole building?
Well, then you're preventing anybody from coming into your.
Not really. I mean, if they're coming in to pay their taxes or to get a marriage license, they're authorized personnel.
Okay, if that's what you wanna do, brother.
Oh, I just wanted to argue. This meeting was over way too
Yeah.
quick.
Well, let's go have pie, Marty, because we're missing out on some pie here, but yeah.
Since we had pie.
So the public lobby areas,
Yeah.
and then the other thing they do is they'll walk up to a window and videotape through a window. And so your best bet there is just to close the blinds.
I think we just need, we need them at the main entrances and it covers, everything. Why are you here? Well, I'm just here to harass and record stuff and try to start a fight with somebody and whatever. Okay,
Well,
we're gonna have to ask you to
but-
leave.
But in their head, they're not harassing people, they're just making sure that they have their constitutional rights are being upheld. So in their minds, it's not, so,
Yeah,
and when you're dealing with law, you have to look at the mindset.
But don't I have the right to the pursuit of happiness? And if they're in my face
No.
with a camera, I'm not necessarily
No, you don't.
having my
Not
happiness.
as long as I get your best
You're
side,
infringing
Jeff,
on my right
it-
for happiness.
you know, whatever
And
your
My
best.
side is gonna be buying my boot.
And that's why educating them and all they're trying to
Yes.
do is stir people up.
Yeah.
And get people to act badly.
So you
So
just,
they can publish.
They
Yeah.
can put you on YouTube.
Why don't you
Yeah.
send them to me? I would've given them a video.
I like the
We're trying
idea
to
of
be
just having it where they don't
proactive
come
here.
back to our offices and,
The
We-
whole
we-
basis is they're.
I think it's
claiming
overreaction, but I don't care. Put them up.
Freedom of the press,
yeah.
and you don't have to show
If
credentials.
it makes you feel safer and better, put them up.
I think it's a good move to post, to erect these signs currently now. If someone walked in and Melody is not there, there's a sign that says, go down the hallway. So we're currently inviting them to walk to the finance person, and she's working on payroll, but we've invited them back to come into your office. We have to stop them a little sooner than that.
Maybe you should just say
A bell.
employees.
Just put bell.
I thought we had doorbell.
Well, John and I talked about that. You know how UPS comes in,
Oh, I
and
wonder
the
if we
office,
could just-
whatever, depot comes in and delivers stuff behind Melody's desk. If you say authorized personnel, that would include them, whereas employees only would not.
Or
It just
could,
comes into effect when.
could we lock, when Melody's not there, could we lock that door where they have to ring the doorbell?
Sure.
Because Jeff had brought that
That's
up.
not gonna solve the problem.
Well, but at least then you're
It
gonna
solves
come.
Harry's problem. It solves what you're talking
Yes,
about.
yeah, because
just walk
if
around.
you have the sign that says, you know, see, then, yeah, he basically, you're inviting the public to go,
To proceed down.
so by,
But
when,
Sam, if you open the door, they're still gonna do it anyway, because right
not if
now-
we have the sign where no
Well,
authorized
That's what
personnel.
I'm saying, if we don't have that sign.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I'm just saying, when Melody is not there, if the door is locked and you have to ring the doorbell, they're not gonna follow the sign.
Right now, it hasn't been a problem.
Yeah,
Well, in most departments around here, even both downstairs and even across the hall, they don't let anybody in
No.
their offices anymore.
Yeah.
They have to talk through the window, they have to be invited in. We still went back to being open after COVID kind of calmed down. We can go back to locking the door. It's whatever you guys prefer.
well, this is the health department, this is the sheriff's, this is, you know,
Right.
public
I mean,
works,
they
this
have
is,
more
this is all offices,
We're-
so.
We're good, I already
Yeah,
got signs up.
yeah, so it's not just our annex, this would be for all of our offices, yeah.
The courts would be big.
Yeah, so it, because again, you've got people at the health department where, you know, you have our employees at the windows there, and they're gonna be the ones that are gonna be harassed, but I think we invite patients and stuff. Aren't those doors locked? And but again, we still,
So you guys okay with the signs? We can get a few made up, have them available for other departments that, you know, may need them. And are you okay with us sending out the guidance to all the employees?
I am.
To do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, John, have you looked at that guidance? I just want to be very careful, because it says call the sheriff if you have a problem, but
It's for our employees if they're uncomfortable.
being uncomfortable is no reason to involve law enforcement.
Okay, it says feeling threatened.
If it's, yeah.
Well, you can just
Or
walk
suspicious.
away.
If you have a suspicious subject, call us and let us go take a look. I mean, it could be us, or it could be, I wouldn't necessarily call me, I would call JCPD. I mean, you call me too, and we'll try to get there first, but JCPD can respond also just as much as we can, especially if it's somebody that's suspicious. I would hate for you to call for a law enforcement, like health department, see something suspicious and call for me to come down there, and it takes one of my staff members 15 minutes whenever this person ends up doing something bad. I think you should just call, if you see a suspicious subject or you see something that scares you, then you call law enforcement, we show up and we talk to them. And if they say, we're here filming the building, then JCPD and myself will say, okay, and then we're gonna leave.
So that would be 911.
Yes,
Okay.
And we'll just
Okay.
change the
Yeah,
advisement.
but I'll read through this.
Yeah.
Please do, yeah.
But I'll read through this and get back to you.
yeah, so, yeah, I'm fine, pending John's review of it. And
Okay, thank you.
That's what she said. I wouldn't press the panic button for that, but some people might.
I would.
I mean, if I'm uncomfortable, that's what my panic button's
feel
for.
ready
It's like,
for-
that's all right.
Say, if you're that scared, I mean, don't second guess it.
Okay.
I'd err on the
But-
side of caution on that.
Not everybody has a panic button, and that was.
No,
our
but you can
problem.
also just turn around and walk away.
Well,
If
you,
you're in a
Sam,
window,
well, Sam, if they come down the hallway, you can't turn and walk away
No.
because your stuff is on your desk, your,
Well,
confidential payroll. We just have to, everyone needs to go to the YouTube videos and just watch these folks. They are annoying. They want confrontation. They would love to see a governmental employee smack them so that they could sue that employee. They accuse the law enforcement of you're going to lose your immunity if you don't leave me alone. And they are just so annoying.
yeah,
And you gotta remember the mindset, these people truly believe that they are exercising their constitutional rights.
I agree. I would
So you just have to treat them that way.
I would disagree with one thing you said, which you said they know the law. In fact, they don't always know the law. They love to go to post offices and start filming, and they're told to leave, and then they go over to the postal thing over there that says Section 7. What Section 7 really says is you can be kicked out of the post office by an authorized personnel. They forget that part of it. And they ordinarily get kicked out and put out on the public sidewalk, and then there's some other confrontation.
Well, you can kick them out of this building. I mean, I can kick them out like that.
Well, you can trespass them out of, and maybe you should have a course for us on trespassing, what that means, because it's not trespassing until you tell them to leave, you're being trespassed, and then you can ask them for their identification so that you can serve them with the trespass, and they know who, they won't give you their name, they won't give you their date of birth. They've been to Boone County, they've been to Morgan County, they've been to Camden County, maybe Miller, I'm not sure. So they're out there, someday they'll show up
They don't
here.
have to identify themselves.
Sorry?
I said, unless they're breaking the law, they do not have to identify themselves.
Well, but once they've been trespassed, and
That is correct.
because you can't prove that they've been trespassed unless you know who they are.
I understand.
So I think we're doing the right thing and protecting our people as much best we can,
Yeah,
and staying inside the law
yeah, I did too.
and within their rights.
Well, we'll get that approved through John, the wording of it, and then we'll
Yeah.
get that out, and then we'll
Yeah,
work on getting a few of the signs for different
Yes.
departments that would
Yeah,
like
for-
those. And if they want education on where they should hang those signs.
yeah, maybe we'll have you, John, give a little class or something.
I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you.
I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't take long.
Yeah. Because a lot of our employees probably have no idea that this occurs. So if, they're doing their thing and out of Public Works, they come in there, or at the Health Department, our people aren't necessarily gonna know what to do. And, so,
I'll get with Locke and,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
That's it.
Anything else?
So we had the email about the judges' chairs. Weren't they wanting like $1,600 for those two chairs they were talking about initially? And the ones in the emails were between $153 and $272. So I'm just trying to figure out, are they gonna go ahead and get them? I mean, that.
Well,
that wasn't figured
you
into the
can't
email.
have, I mean, this is for our new judge. He needs a chair. We can't have him sitting on a.
But weren't they talking like
box or
$1,600 for two chairs the other day, and then we got that email?
Yeah.
Did you send that? They were,
Yeah,
I'm scratching my note out,
We
200,
gave them some options.
Yeah.
$253 to $272, so.
yeah,
But they want to get them through Missouri Vocational Enterprise. so then we just kind
Yeah.
of backed off, so.
Yeah.
That's what Judge Beadham wants to get them through there, so.
Yeah,
So then the state's gonna pay for them?
No.
So then don't we have to say where they come from?
it's kind of like when Holly
Or maybe you can have a
Holly sent an
conversation with
email
Judge.
that they were getting $600 chairs for her employees. And I sent her back an email saying, I want to see a $600 desk chair. And, but we couldn't say yay or nay. It's just,
Well, we don't have to pay for it.
If you want me to email them back and give them a limit, then I can do that, whatever you want me to do.
Well, just go buy 2 chairs and bring them up there. Here's your chairs.
yeah, well,
Why do we have to have $800 chairs? Wasn't that what they had? Was it 1,200 or 1,600?
It's like 1,400, 700 a chair.
So,
That was through MVE.
Yeah.
Okay, then, who has looked at other retailers and you've found prices of,
They're like lowest was 150 to about 280, I think.
Yep.
Or something. I gave them like
153 to 272.
and are those,
them like 4 options, and just to kind of get an idea of what they were looking for.
Did they say no to those?
He replied back and said they were getting it through MVE, and I just said, okay, let me know if I can help or something like that. I was trying to see what they wanted, what type they wanted, you know, because I don't know what type of chairs they want, if they want leather or not, or.
And they were all, no. Sure they weren't.
They have to have something that you can sit in all day.
yeah.
So you're not gonna.
Being
find
up on the
some cheap
bench,
chair that's-
being up on the bench, you,
Yeah, you need to have.
So what kind do you all have that you'll have at your desk? You can't sit in yours all day long? I'm pretty damn sure I see a lot of y'all sit in yours all day long. I mean, we can get them on the medicine ball where they're sitting on if we really want to get something, but I understand why they got paid that much for them, but I saw the email, I was trying to figure out, because that was a lot better price than what they had provided from MVE, and that was part of my hangup, was why are we buying it from MVE at that price? So,
I think the state,
MVE.
yeah, it's state,
In my experience.
well, that's why
usually
they're in the mess they are.
yeah, they are. They are.
So, that, and whoever get the prosecuting attorney's office laptops figured out. Back and forth about that too from Brian, because.
I think Brian had said he tried to get them.
But they weren't available,
Yeah.
and with them being so hard to get right now, so how are they gonna get them?
Well, Brian's their best option at this point, I would think.
well, Brian responded back to, in one of the emails that he tried his 2 places and he couldn't get them. So isn't this almost like asking for next year's budget this year? Or, I mean, if,
If the prosecutor has his own funds too, he may have been buying those out of there, I don't know.
But he would like, he asked that we declare this an emergency purchase.
Was
Because
he asking
he's
us to
going
buy?
over the, no, he's not asking you to buy them, but he's going over the bid limit.
Yeah.
Even the increased bid limit, he's over $12,000.
but, and it's because there are so many of them, right? I mean, are they like $2,000 a piece or what?
Are they on contract?
So both of the co-ops cannot provide the equipment anytime soon.
Probably the chips.
And so what's the difference between the co-op price and the price that he's gonna have to pay?
That I don't know.
Might not be any,
He
but
found
it's
somebody else.
over the bid amount, so we either have to declare
He
an
either has to
emergency.
bid it, or you would have to declare it an emergency so he can purchase now. He needs to meet the bidding requirement, and he is currently not.
Let's go buy it, hell, it's like the
Well,
judge's
if you're
chair.
gonna do the emergency purchase, he needs to come down and explain to the commission why it qualifies as an emergency purchase.
And that really needs to go.
And then you all have to vote on it being an emergency purchase.
Okay.
So, well, we need to invite him to come before us.
All right. So I guess if they want to get that rolling, they do need to come down, then we need to look at doing it.
Yeah,
So it's one of the agenda items for next Tuesday?
I don't know that.
Well, I guess I'm suggesting start the agenda, or it's already been started, but add to it emergency purchase.
yeah.
laptops, PA's office.
Do you want Locke to be
Yes,
down here?
yeah. I
Yes,
think so.
right,
We
yeah,
need,
but-
we
We'll see if he's
need
available.
a,
He's the
Or-
one who has to tell them why.
yeah, we need,
It's an emergency.
But he doesn't have to do that on an agenda. He could do that beforehand if it's an actual emergency. They can make that purchase and then just ratify that they.
Well,
did
I
it.
think there needs to be a record made of why. I mean, because Jessica, what is it, 3 weeks of advertising for bidding?
Yep.
So, I mean, why it has to be done today instead of a month from now?
I think he's ordered them already.
Call the prosecutor and prosecute him for ordering them too early. Oh, wait a minute. Just kidding.
From his email, I assume that, but,
That was my assumption. I went in
Yeah.
and told him that he had to meet the bidding requirement and gave him the options as far as how to meet that requirement.
so before we can declare, we need,
Yeah, I think it'd be good to have the prosecutor following the law.
yeah,
You think?
yeah,
I will ask him if he can come
Yes.
next Tuesday then.
yes. And we can put
And-
him, we can put him first.
Brian is in the loop now, which is fine, but one of the representations was that the existing laptops have DVD drives or CD drives that don't work. I think our technician or our esteemed technician, Brian, should say, well, yes, they don't, but for $29.95 at Best Buy, you can change them out. I mean, does it destroy the whole operating system to not have good drives? I don't know. It seems like we're a little disjointed here as to an elected official claiming that the equipment doesn't work, but the technician side of it hasn't weighed in that says, but I can fix it. That's where there's a hiccup here.
And that's why we always try to get all the departments to go through Brian first.
Right.
But it becomes a little harder with elected officials, with their own.
Well, that's why I had asked him
Well,
if he
you
had
know, if
gone
he-
through Brian.
He does have a couple of funds that's
Right.
sort of autonomous from us. Is that true?
They are, but that his fund stands by itself, but he still is going to meet that bidding requirement.
I understand that part of it, but we don't have to bless a lot of things that he buys out of those funds, or we do?
Oh,
He
right,
has total discretion.
Right.
Okay.
But he still needs to follow the law.
True.
That's like
Right.
marking his drones.
I mean, it is very, marking his drones.
Yeah.
Did he bid out the drones?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we need to
Oh,
But
okay.
it's Harriet's broad discretion on what the funds can be used for.
There's the bad check fund. Is that one still
Yeah,
there?
There's the restitution fund, the bad check, and delinquent tax.
Okay. Got it. Jeff's going to sleep on us here.
Okay, so we're gonna invite the
Yep,
lock
I'll ask
to
him.
come down,
Okay.
and we will
So we had a lot
run,
of emails going back and forth on that.
we will run him through, and then we need to check with Brian and see
be here.
if, well, we need to, before that, we need to get a clarification from Brian if we can do some repairs or add. Yeah,
So we had two other things we had emails going back and forth about too, and I think there was confusion on, I know there's confusion on my part, because one thing I thought we had report on mold on the third floor here,
mhm.
and then the other report was from over at the public defender's office. So that's where I was getting confused too, because the one inspector was from over there. I don't think
I
it
don't
was
think
from
so.
upstairs. We had a proposal for the one upstairs. From over at the Carnegie Building was with the Braun inspection.
And see, no, because Locke was the one that sent us the email, and then I asked him if he could provide information on
The-
Braun. So that was, the emails I have are from Locke. The original email was from Locke.
Visual mold inspection is for,
See, I'm not-
Public Defender's Office, and that was from the Braun one you were talking about.
Yes,
And then we had a proposal from Home and Commercial Inspections, Nick Fortner or something, to do the inspection for
that's,
the prosecutor's office.
yes.
So there's two different
Well,
ones.
my, Braun also looked at the prosecuting attorney's office, because the emails that I received from Locke were for his offices, not the public defender's spaces.
The only one I think I had from Locke, we need a clarification on that, but both of them have to be looked.
We need to,
And I think that's where part of the confusion was coming from. See, the one from Locke was just, I don't see anything from him with Braun looking at his.
oh, I'll send it over to you then. You should have gotten it. Yeah, there were 2 emails from him, and then I asked him to get the information on Braun so that Greg could check as well. So the only inspections I know of are for the 3rd floor.
So, I mean, it's obvious there's mold there, so we
Yeah.
just gotta figure out what we need to do to
Yeah,
take care of it.
we gotta remediate it as quickly as we can.
So, are we gonna have them each take care of it themselves, or we need to
I
have Greg
think
look
we need
into it?
both of them we need more than just one, and then we need to get moving
But
on.
I don't think it's something that Locke should be doing and that Justin should be doing. And that's who the emails are coming from, lining up inspectors. So I think it's something that we need to have Greg on, is to go look into these things. We've got these emails, go look into them. It's a maintenance issue.
But he needs experts.
Well, the other thing, they can't contract for the county.
Well, these guys aren't
No.
doing these inspections for free, I'm gonna tell you that much.
No,
That's what
no.
I'm saying, Jeff.
No.
Unless they wanna pull out their personal checkbook and pay them,
Well, and Locke's got a checkbook up there that he can pay out of.
you know.
So we had a proposal, like I said, one from the Home and Commercial Inspections of Nick Fortner.
But if
That was,
they're
that was
expecting-
$850, and I don't know if that was because he's requesting us to allow him to do it, and then the other one was a report from Brown Inspection Consultants. So when you have pictures and a report, that job's already been done. I don't know who's getting the bill for it.
Kristen has to sign off on agreements too, that there's an appropriation for that.
Well, Locke brought Braun in on
He
his,
can pay out
of his own to look upstairs. And then Jim Wish came and he walked through with Greg. And so he has used this Fortner before on other older buildings. And so that's where that came in. I'm just, Fortner is going to look at all 3 floors of the annex and give us a report.
You
And-
tell us that we have mold. He's gonna get up into the ceilings and stuff and look around because all the stuff that came over from like the public defender's office is,
I haven't seen this, what I'm dealing with and what is just basically the 3rd floor.
you just said first, second, and third.
Well, Fortner is saying he will look at all 3 floors for $850. And to me, I think if we have mold up there, we ought to look at all floors while we're doing it. But I haven't seen anything at all on the Carnegie
So that's
building
why,
yet.
that's why there was a confusion, because we already had the report for Carnegie, but we didn't have anything for the annex. And you're wanting them to look at the annex.
Annex, yes.
And I said, they've already inspected it. There's mold, there's pictures of it, so why would we do it twice? So, I mean, Greg should be on top of this stuff and kind of filling us in, I guess, is where I'm at with it right now. We need to figure out what's going on with it. Because mold inspection, these were all obvious.
do that to be.
So is that the Carnegie Building, or is that?
Yeah, that's Carnegie.
Yeah, well,
That's
see,
the one.
okay, I'm not talking about the Carnegie, I'm talking about the prosecuting attorneys, and that's what,
But we haven't had it inspected yet.
no, and we need,
So
we.
when I was talking to you about these, that's where the confusion is.
Okay, no, I'm.
So what we're gonna do about these over there then?
Well, we're going, probably we can have whoever comes in to do the remediation, do both of them at the same time. But I think it's more critical for the third floor because we have people working up there.
Oh, we don't have people on the second floor or first floor working?
We don't have people in the basement of Carnegie's right now except for Greg.
Okay.
So my emails are for Locke's office because we need to do something there fairly quickly.
The issue at the Carnegie Building was precipitated by our plans to vacate the lower level, for Greg to vacate that and use the space for the public defenders. So at that point, Justin Carver says, well, we're concerned about potential mold on the first floor. And that, as a result of that, I believe, Braun looked at it, says you have mold, took the pictures. At that point, I thought we've got two buildings and they each have 3 floors involved, potentially. It's better to look at all 3 floors instead of saying, hey, you got mold on one floor, fix it, and then months later, days later, it's on another floor. They ought all be looked at the same time, maybe by the same entity. I don't know. It could be others, but Greg was not surprised that there was mold in the lower level, the basement of the Carnegie Building. He says it's due to a couple of cooling units that have actually been disconnected over the years. It's put the stains on the walls. They were leaking before they were turned off, and he thinks those are going to be easy to remediate, but you have to look other places too. It could be in the ceiling. It could be on the upper floors as well. So we've got in place 6 different floors in 2 different buildings that they all need to be looked at. Not tied to the Carnegie at all was the prosecuting attorney saying, hey, we think there's on the 3rd floor of the annex we have issues. And I don't know how they found out that they have issues other than people suffering the consequences, or if anybody had looked at it at that point.
You could have allergies coming out from it, so.
Right.
My disposal was leaking water. I didn't realize that until I opened up, crawled underneath there to find what the leak was, and there was mold on the walls there too. It's kind of funny how your eyes start to puff up right then when you're in an enclosed space like that, and that's probably what's going on in these. But if Greg's working on this, that's the first I heard of it.
Well, he asked me this morning if I had a preference as to where he should go to get this place looked at, and I said Fortner. That was my preference.
Okay, because I hadn't heard anything about that. We talked about getting inspections done, and then there was confusion between Carnegie and then the 3rd floor here.
Yes.
So I didn't know we were talking about 2 different places, first off, and then it started coming together this morning. We're talking about the prosecutor, and then you emailed something yesterday too about the other one. So,
Greg should be our lead on this. He's got 6 places to worry about, 3 floors over there, 3 floors over here. Maybe he's got just 2 buildings to worry about, but
well, the mold in the basement over there is obvious.
Yes.
It'll take a genius to figure that one
Yeah.
out. You can look at it. And if some of it just needs to be pulled out of there, some of the old stuff and cleaned up, that's one thing. But yeah, I wouldn't want my employees going down there and working either.
Greg says he believes he can remediate that, but I think we need the official stamp of approval by someone who comes in afterwards and says this is quality space that's healthy for people to work in.
Yeah, and I'm really more concerned about.
And if it's in this building, if it's an HVAC thing, although we all have all these separate HVAC modules around here. Once it gets there, it seemed to me like it would circulate everywhere. But I'm not a scientist or an engineer. I wouldn't have an official opinion on that.
Well, there definitely is problems with that in this bill.
Well, you can't just bring a petri dish out and let it open for a while and put a lid on it and grow mold. We did that in second grade. That's
No,
anywhere.
All I'm saying
So
is,
that is just saying you're growing mold up there is ridiculous. So, but is there a problem? Potentially, yes. But we had both these issues going back and forth, so, all right, so we just need to instruct Greg to get on that.
Yeah,
Okay, that kind of clarifies that mold and mud, so. So what is our time schedule on county redistricting? Because we have to have something in line at some point too. I know last time Melissa really took care of us on that with the GIS and stuff when we were.
It's gotta be soon.
It's got to be soon. There's a recent email from the county clerk that yesterday, I guess, was the kickoff, you might call it, at the Capitol for the House and Senate redistricting commissions.
Yep.
So they have to lead on this a little bit, but
Well, we have to have some census numbers at some point. We don't.
Right, and you've asked for them.
So,
I think you've asked the clerk, and the clerk.
I was kind of curious what kind of statutory timeline we had, because if we don't have the information, we can't make any kind of decision on that.
Right.
And it is a little tricky. The last time we were able to follow, kind of have a defining line, it used to be Highway 54, then it became Route C because there was a population shift and such, but. Okay, well, I was just curious if we had any clue when that stuff was all coming down, if we heard anything.
I think we have to follow very closely what's happening at the state level, because we kind of have to get in a domino line behind that. The city's going to have the issue with the wards. I don't know if,
We really don't have to wait for the state, though. When we get the census information, we can go on without them, because ours is just county, and it doesn't have anything really to do with their representative lines or anything like that, so.
yeah.
I agree, but we try with respect to the city. I mean, we wouldn't, if it's possible, we don't like to chop up and have census tracts that don't follow with their census tracts and those kind of things. I know that line's going to get wavier probably, or who knows? It all depends on these.
So this census.org says the Census Bureau will release 2020 census redistricting data on August 12th. Whether or
Okay.
not they get that done or not is. yet
So
to
this
be
will
seen.
affect Representative Veet and also Representative Griffith on their districts.
Rudy told me yesterday that he expects that with respect to the rep district, the representative districts, that they would keep the city, adjust the city so that it would make one district, and it does today, although there's pieces of the city that belong to Rudy on the east side, I
Yeah,
think.
he's my rep, and we're
Okay,
out.
east side, parts of east side of Jefferson City are not in the city district. And we have 5 different reps who represent part of Cole County. But that having been said, it pushes some folks from Griffin perhaps to Rudy, or vice versa, and Rudy then circles the lower part of the county. But he loses parts to.
I kind of agree with Jeff
Walsh and-
that what we do pertains to Cole County, so,
I mean, you could ask Melissa to give you some options based on
don't you like it when I agree with you, Jeff?
population.
Scares the hell out of
And
me.
she can redivide out that map for you.
Well, we've got, what, 2 days? 1 day? Both, the 12th is tomorrow? Okay.
Oh, well, we'll just wait for them to tell us.
All right, so I guess we're hurrying up and waiting on that, and then
Well, we really can't do anything until you have that census data.
And I gotta feel our census from last year is gonna be so cockeyed. It's,
I guess it's there.
I mean, do we have to have it set by a certain date? I didn't see anything in what the clerk sent us that specified what we had to have set. It just said that we set our districts and,
I don't know what they did.
When's filing start for state positions?
February, the first Tuesday after the first Monday in February, is that, or is it? Or it's some
So they
Tuesday
still got
after a
little
Monday.
while then, but, I mean, ours isn't as much of a big deal. We try to have some, like I said, some kind of defining line, but if you have, once you get into the city, like West Circle and some of those over there, that's where we get cut up a little bit, and
Right.
it does get confusing there, but, okay. I was curious if we had a set date or anything. I was just trying to extend the meeting for about 15 minutes, not 45. Sorry about that. Okay.
You're my commissioner, and Rudy's my representative. And so, God, I'm gonna complain to you.
Honestly, you go to Samuel's Tuxedos.
Okay, anything else?
I think
Anything
that's it.
else?
You better hurry up before I come up with something else.
So move we stand in recess
So moved.
Second.
till 4:30?
Till 4:30.
Okay, all in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So now I can clear out about 600 emails.
If I didn't